There are great movies, and then there are movies that you only want to watch once. And not because they are bad, but because they hit just a little too hard. You kind of carry them with you whether you want to or not. So these are 10 movies that are absolutely worth watching, but maybe only once. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so welcome back to ABA Pop Culture, and today we're going to talk about some movies that absolutely feel real. We've been talking about that lately, but this is the other side of it, because sometimes a movie feels so real, you don't want to go back. And not because it didn't work, but because it worked a little too well. These are the movies that stay with you and sit with you, and in some cases, you wish they hadn't. And we're going to start out with number 10 in 1987's Hamburger Hill. Now, war movies can feel intense and they can be tough and they can stick with you, but Hamburger Hill feels exhausting. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but the exhausting nature of this movie is kind of the point. This isn't heroic and it isn't a clean version of war. This is repetition, confusion. This is going up the same hill over and over again and losing people every single time. There's no big cinematic speeches, no sense that anyone really knows what they're doing. It just feels like it's stuck in something you can't escape. And by the end of it, you don't feel pumped, you feel drained, and you can't escape it because then you look and you find out this is a true story. And this is pretty accurate of they just sent these guys again and again into this meat grinder of this hill to take this hill. And when they finally take it, they hold it for 10 days and then move on and it becomes forgotten about and no one needs it anymore. There's no hill to fight over. And there's that coldness of that just gut punches you. And that's why it's so effective. And then at number 9 is 1995's Leaving Las Vegas. And this one is hard to watch in a completely different way because there's no big event here. There's not a taking of a hill. There's not a big war. There's not anything like that. No shocking twist. Just this march. This sort of death march towards inevitability. You got Nicolas Cage, who plays a man who's decided he's going to drink himself to death, and the movie never tries to save him. It doesn't offer any hope. It doesn't offer any way out. It just makes you sit with it the whole time and watch it. In the relationship with Elizabeth Shue, it's not about fixing each other. It's about understanding each other, and that's what makes it so hard to revisit because you know exactly where it's going. You know it's hopeless, and you're on this train to the end, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Great movie, hard to watch. And then for me, there is 2019's Uncut Gems. I absolutely will not own this movie. I will not buy it. I will not watch it again. And it's a different kind of too real. It's not depressing all the way through. It is at the end, but it is super stressful to watch. Adam Sandler's Howard Ratner is one of those characters where you're watching him make bad decision after bad decision, and you're just thinking, stop it, just stop, but he can't. And the movie is paced in a way that never lets you react or relax. You've got people talking over each other. It's just so frenetic. Phones ringing, deals stacking on top of one another, schemes. It feels like chaos, but it's real chaos. And it's the chaos that the people in this story actually lived in. And by the end, you're feeling it in your chest. But for me, the coldness, the detachment, the callousness of the ending, and the shocking realism of it is why I will never watch that movie again. And then at number 7, we have appropriately titled 7. This is where things get even more heavy, really heavy, in fact, because 7 doesn't just tell a dark story. It creates a world that feels completely hopeless. Like if you watch this movie, it is depression raining down on you. It is oppression also raining down on you. Everything is gray. it's always raining, and if it's not, it's a weird color tone. There's no relief anywhere. The performances by Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman ground the movie. They make it feel real as detectives trying to understand something they can't possibly understand and getting too close to something they can't understand. And that ending, it doesn't just feel like a twist. It feels like that awful, awful world winning. And that's why it sticks with you, and it is a great film, but extremely hard to watch. Another one along those lines is 1998's American History X. And this is maybe one of the hardest watches on the list because it holds nothing back. It's not worried about offending anyone. It's not worried about anything. It's worried about telling this story and making a mark. And Edward Norton's performance is so committed, so intense, that it is uncomfortable as hell to watch. And the curb stomp, even if you've never seen the movie, you know that, because it doesn't feel like movie violence. It feels like a man pushed too hard and disturbed and just twisted and broken in his mind and hurt in his mind, snapping and going too far. It feels real, and that's what makes it feel like it hits you even harder. The movie shows both sides. Okay, it shows hate, it shows consequences, it shows attempts to change, it shows things driving the hate, it shows all of these different things, and it doesn't sugarcoat anything for anyone. And by the end, it leaves you with something heavy to sit with, like a pit in your stomach, and it is very hard to watch, but a great film. American History X comes in at number 6. Now, at number 5 is a movie that I almost hesitate to mention because it's not necessarily none of these are necessarily recommendations, but 1978's I Spit on Your Grave is rough to watch. Not because it's bad, but because it is that intense and that disturbing. The first half of the movie is extremely, extremely difficult to sit through. It's very raw. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't cut away. It just stays on coverage. Man, you're begging for it to cut to a different angle, cut away, but that's intentional. It's meant to make you feel every moment of this, every brutal, hard to watch moment. And then the second half shifts to revenge, but even that doesn't feel satisfying in a traditional way. It feels heavy, dark, and over the top, and just difficult to see. And that's why this one's firmly, for most people, in the watch one time territory. I Spit on Your Grave from 1978, a very tough to watch exploitation film. And then there's one that I've mentioned a couple times throughout this series of films, but it fits here. I'm sorry, it fits here. It's 2004's The Passion of the Christ. And this movie is one of the most powerful movie experiences that you can have in the history of films. But there's something, it's not something that you can casually revisit. It doesn't feel like a movie. That makes it so hard to watch, and you know the story of the Passion of the Christ, and it's so hard to watch and go through, and to know that it was went through for you, and it feels like witnessing something, and not from a distance, like you're there, like you are there, whether you connect with it spiritually or not, you are there through this, just raw, physical, emotional intensity, and you feel the weight of it. And it makes an impact, whether it's a spiritual impact or an emotional impact or both, or just a psychological impact. Knowing that this happened, it's so difficult to go back to and watch. It is very tough, but very profound. Passion of the Christ comes in at number 4. And then there is a movie I have seen exactly one time, and that is 2000's Requiem for a Dream. And this movie has like a 4K out. I'm not interested in buying it. This is probably the definition of this list, because everything about this movie feels like a downward spiral you cannot escape. Addiction, desperation, isolation, and the way it's edited, the way it builds, it feels relentless on you. There's no moment where things turn around, no sense that anything is ever going to get better. And by the end, you are absolutely exhausted. You are not entertained. At least I wasn't, not in any way. And that's why people say, I've seen it, once is enough. That makes this list for sure. Requiem for a Dream comes in at number 3. And at number 2, it had to be here. It's 1974's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like footage that you found. Not a found footage, but footage you found in a psycho killer's house. And it feels like something you weren't supposed to see. You feel everything about it. The heat, the sound, the smells, the sweat, everything coming off of it, you feel it. It feels dirty. The performances are frantic, unpolished, like people reacting in real time. And that's what makes it so effective, because even now I have it right over here on a 4K. It looks great. I haven't watched it but the one time since I got it, and that's been a few years, and I'm probably it'll be at least a few years again before I see it. The movie doesn't feel safe. I know what it is. I can go through it in my mind. I don't need to sit through it again. You endure it, and it is very tough to watch. It is very tough to get through. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it has to be on any list like this. It comes in at number 2. And then at number 1, there's 1993's Schindler's List. And this isn't just a movie. This is kind of an experience that I only needed to do once. And it's my favorite director of all time, Steven Spielberg. But I didn't need to watch it again more than one time. The way it's shot, the performances, how the color treatment is on it, the quiet moments, everything about the movie feels grounded. It feels real, feels historical. Nothing feels exaggerated. And because of that, it feels real in a way that's kind of hard to describe. And then you put somebody with Steven Spielberg's talents behind it, it kind of hits home in every corner of your imagination visually. It takes that concept of Jaws, of what you don't see, and Jaws could be on this list too, but it's such a great movie. Everybody's going to watch it more than once. But it takes that concept of what you don't see and what you could imagine, and hits it exponentially out of the park, and it leaves you just crushed, kind of. And it feels like it's not something that you watch casually. It's something that you sit with, and maybe that's why so many people don't revisit it, because not because it's not an incredible piece of filmmaking, but because it means something, and it's just too heavy and too hard. And for that reason, Schindler's List is number 1 here. So yeah, sometimes the movies that feel the most real are the ones that we don't go back to. Not because they failed, but because they succeeded in what they were trying to do. They hit us. They stayed with us. They gave us something that we can't unsee, that we can't empty our minds of, that we can't distance ourselves from, that we can't get rid of. So let me know in the comments, what are some of the movies like that for you? Is it some of these? What other movies did you watch once and say, that's it, that's enough for me, I'm not going back to it? Not because they're bad movies or silly movies or ridiculous and you don't need to watch them again, but the ones that really hit you. And let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you enjoy what we're doing here, consider sticking around and supporting a little bit more. You can do that by using the Patreon link below. You can become a patron, and over there you're going to find physical media reviews, deep dives into movies, special members only videos, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, and so much more. And everything helps support the channel, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.